Hi guys, this is Marius and Alex from Trademate, and we figured that we were going to do a podcast where we talk about some football, some sports, and it's going to be fun. Or so we hope.
Yeah, I feel like it's all going to be about Arsenal and Liverpool basically. So it's not going to be much about sports, I would guess, and more so about those two teams. But yeah, should be a bit of fun.
Yeah, because we are Liverpool and the Arsenal fan respectively, so that's just the natural inclination since we're following those teams the most closely.
Yeah, one happy person and one sad person.
Yes, especially after the League Cup game last week. So
yeah, that was a good game.
Yeah, it was a good game.
It's about the football.
Yeah, and the entertainment and the number of goals. Right, that's what matters. Not who wins in the end. Like that's just a tiny detail. So who cares? Who cares?
So we can get started. Firstly, we want to start off every podcast with like a little quiz question. So that means you kind of have to stay till the end of the podcast so you can hear the answer to the quiz question. Today's quiz question is: name a team that have spent just one season in the EPL. Now, I don't know about you, mate, but I had no idea about the answer to this one, but.
Yeah, so the problem here was that I looked at the answer before I had a chance to make up my mind. So I think we're gonna leave it up to you to have a think about which teams this could be, and then next time I'll make sure to not know the answer so I can make my guess too.
Yeah, but other than that, I guess we can start it off with a bit of a chat about what's been going on in sport. Is there How do you think about Liverpool so far?
Well, I mean, obviously this has been the best season pretty much ever. Coming off a fantastic season last season with the Champions League win and everything. And I really think that this year is going to be a year. I say it every single season, but this year it's actually happening.
Yeah.
Because the team just looks overall so incredibly strong right now. The defense has been a bit more shaky than what it was last season. Been some injuries to Matip lately, and Gomez hasn't looked quite the same player so far this season. But at the same time, like we're also playing much higher line, so we're taking a lot more risk offensively. And of course, we also missed our first choice world class goalkeeper for like. Pretty much more than half of the game so far.
And you didn't drop any points at all, I don't think, did you?
I mean, it was just against Manchester United. So
or was he not playing?
No, that was. I think that was the first game he was back because that was just after the international break.
Yeah.
And so he was playing, but now he's back. So I think the defense is fine. At least it's much better than Manchester City's.
Yeah.
And they keep pummeling all the weaker teams, even though like both Liverpool and City had even games this week. But so like the underlying stats, the expected goal stats and stuff of City is better than what Liverpool have. But when I look at these games, I just think Liverpool have taken another level in their sheer ability to just find ways to win games.
Is there anything? I haven't watched many Liverpool games other than the one where you beat Arsenal 3-1.
Yeah.
Is there anything different? Do you think? Like, where have they gotten better from last year?
Yeah. So one thing is that high line, and the other thing is kind of like they just don't lose these days.
Yeah. They seem hungry. Like really hungry.
And it's like even when they go down, you're always confident that they're going to score at least one goal, so that'll make it a draw. And in these games, they've just found that ability to also dig up the second goal from the hat where you just least expected it.
Yeah.
And I really think they're starting to like get into a good habit of just winning games. And also one thing that I think kind of is why their stats don't look as good as City's is because they've been playing much more smartly when they're in the lead this season. So they've just been like taking more time to control the game and not necessarily going all out attack like through the entire game, but rather spreading it out more and having like 20-minute periods where they're going like all out against placing and just pummeling teams. So I think they just seem like a smarter team now than what they used to be.
Do you get the notion? Because the way I look at this season is that I feel like you've got two very good teams, and I feel like they kind of want to swap the trophies that they got last year. You know what I mean? Like that was like when I was looking at the season ahead. I was like, if I was Liverpool, I would put most of my focus on the Premier League, and then if I'm Man City, I really want that Champions League. Because has Pep won the Champions League before?
Yes, with other teams, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he did it with Barcelona. And then I think that was it. I don't think he managed to do it with Bayern. But I guess someone else will know this, or we should check it.
Yeah. That's probably his big like critic, I guess. Like his big thing that he needs to get over is, even though he won 3 trophies last year, it's like people aren't gonna like really like say he's like one of the greatest ever managers until he gets the Champions League with Man City, considering the team and the budget he has in his hand.
Exactly.
Whereas Klopp, his is the other way around. Like,
and I also think that like any other team, any other like time, except Liverpool right now, would have preferred winning the Champions League over the Premier League. It's just that we haven't won it in, it's going to be 30 years or something this year, if not next year. So if we win it this year, then like every single season after that, it's going to be like the Champions League, which is the most important and the biggest trophy to win. So it's just Liverpool are in a pretty unique situation because of like.
But in saying that, if I, being an Arsenal fan, I would rather them win the Premier League.
Really?
Yeah, I think it's harder. It's harder to win because you can win lots of games in the Champions League just performing on that day. Whereas for the Premier League, you have to, probably for 35 games at least, you have to be like, you have to win, at least at the moment. The way the competition is, with so many good teams. But I don't know, I think I would value Premier League victory just because you have to be consistent. Throughout the whole season, whereas you can just have those like quick, really good performances. Obviously, you're going to have to be a good team. Yeah. But I don't know, I guess that's a good topic. Maybe we should put up a poll or something.
Yeah, I mean, I do kind of agree that as soon as you have like a cup format, it's only 2 games. If one game just goes crazy, then that can sort of decide the tie. Yeah. So, and it like from the quarterfinal, like if you make it to the quarterfinals, then you need to win like 5 more games to lift the trophy. So, I mean, teams can get lucky, especially in like 5-game stretches. Yeah. So I guess there is a point there. But overall, it's kind of like the level of competition that you face in those like later rounds of the Champions League, I'd still say is like more difficult to overcome because typically it is like the Barcelonas and the Real Madrids, the PSGs, and like the Manchester Cities that you will face in those later rounds. Yeah. But I mean, Liverpool won the Champions League in 2005 with a terrible team, which would never get close to winning the Premier League. So for sure, it is possible. So I do see that point. Yeah.
No, it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah.
You'd probably take the Premier League this year, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Any thoughts on Manchester United?
Manchester United. It's a really interesting one, isn't it? Because I mean, all the pressures on your Norwegian mate, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. But he's in such a bad position because not only does he have an extremely weak squad for Manchester United standards, like he's been, I don't know, is he, like the way I look at it is obviously he hasn't been given a fair enough time to have good effect on the squad or the team. But the thing is, even if he had a very good team, like his squad was up to scratch, like there's so many question marks over whether he would be good enough anyway. Yeah. So you wonder whether like it's better if Manchester United brings someone in that's a bit more proven, or they know that will do the job. Just get him in now and make sure that, like, I guess he builds them up as the squad gets better. Yeah. Or do you give Oli a chance with a bad squad, but a squad that's going to get better? I don't know. It's a tough one. I guess I'd stay on the side of at least getting a proven manager in, so then you have like I don't know, a bit more of an accurate interpretation in terms of where they are
Yeah.
as a team.
I think this is an extremely difficult question. So we have a section later where we're going to swap position with someone in sport. If there's one I think I would not want to swap places with, it would be like the Woodward at Manchester United.
Oh, he should just swap himself.
Yeah, he should. But I mean, that's just a very difficult spot to be in right now. Because it's kind of like on the one hand side, I think it's smart that they brought in someone like Solskjaer, who's at least appears to be more of a like long-term thinker. Like he's not going for that Mourinho to let's win the title in 2 years and then be totally destroyed for the next 5 years after.
Yeah.
So he is more patient. Like he bought Daniel James. He's been playing him like pretty much every single game.
Yeah.
So also giving some of the other youngsters a chance.
McTominay.
McTominay and Greenwood's been giving some minutes here and there. So there's like a lot of good things about it, and I think that's the sort of manager they sort of need at this stage of the development as a team, because what they've been trying to do ever since Ferguson left is just buy that one star player or 2 star players, and then we'll win the title again, and it's failed and failed again as Sanchez and Di Maria and everyone has just like been big flops basically.
Yeah.
Instead of just finding these players which you develop along with the club, and so that they are at their peak when they're at your club, not at their peak before the game. So I think that's sort of the approach they need to do, and sort of like try to stabilize, build a good team which will also be able to play together for like the next 5 to 10 years.
Yeah. So
that you can like gradually get back and finish regularly in the top 4. So if they go like buying superstars again this next summer, then I would see that as a big step in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
But then in the end, is Solskjaer the right manager in the long run? I don't think he's good enough.
No, you wouldn't think so.
And it's like, I think it's an okay solution now because they need that long-term thinking.
Yeah.
But is he better than Klopp, Guardiola, Pochettino, even though he's having a bad season so far?
Yeah.
And like his peers, then I say no, not at all.
No,
I mean, even Emery's won, 3 Europa League titles.
Oh, you don't want him.
Yeah, but still, like,
I know what you mean. Yeah.
The competition is just so amazing in the Premier League right now, and I have not seen anything today which suggests that Solskjaer is a better than average manager.
Yeah,
which is what you need if you're gonna win the Premier League this day and age.
Yeah, I know it's a tough one because it's not like there's anyone available right now, like any manager that you're like, maybe Allegri.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know, even Allegri, like, although he's won how many new titles with Juventus in the Serie A, like, he never made a dent in the Champions League at all.
Yeah, actually, I know they got to 2 finals because I watched one in Boston and one with my friend in Oslo.
Yeah.
Who's a Juve fan. So yeah, but in the end, they didn't win it. They didn't win it in the end. But yeah, the Serie A has been like pretty much a cakewalk. Of course, they have done extremely smart decisions to be in a position to make it a cakewalk. And Napoli did put up a hell of a season on the last season of Sarri when he got like 89 points and still didn't win the league.
Yeah.
But yeah, Allegri could be a choice. That's the sort of manager a team like United would need after Solskjaer.
Yeah.
And not like, they need to sort of get into the top 4 spot. And then they need a manager like him to like take them to the title.
Yeah.
Because that's like the one thing with a couple of these managers, like Guardiola also, like he's never had to build a team. He's always gone into like one of the 2 best, like Barcelona, best or second best club in Spain, then Bayern, who's by far the best club in Germany, and then Manchester City, they have the biggest budget of all the teams in the Premier League. So he's never had to like take a team which was pretty terrible, like Liverpool was when Klopp took over.
Yeah, that's true.
And like brought them all the way up to the top. And some managers can do both, or the managers who can do both, I think you can count on one hand, and I think it's pretty much Jurgen Klopp. Maybe Pochettino.
Yeah.
He hasn't succeeded yet in going all the way, but I think that's mainly because of the budget.
Yeah, definitely. He's not been helped out by that at all.
Yeah.
That's an interesting case too, Tottenham, isn't it? It's, you wonder, it's bizarre. The whole situation's quite bizarre because they went from making the Champions League final to what they are now, which is quite a sad state because they're definitely coming lower on the table than Arsenal at the moment, which is saying a lot.
Yeah.
And it's, I don't know, a lot of his like press conferences and stuff, it sounds like he's disinterested, not happy, like hasn't really been backed, as we just said, in the transfer market. So that's another interesting one. If I was like Manchester United, I'd 100% be looking at someone like Pochettino.
Yeah. Because
what he's done on the budget he's had, I reckon it's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
So it'll be very interesting to see what happens with him too.
I mean, that's what they should have done when they hired Solskjaer. They should have like made a deal to get Pochettino at the end of the season.
Yeah.
Or like before making Solskjaer permanent, wait until the summer after Tottenham lost the final, go for Pochettino. Like that's what you should have done.
Yeah.
But in the end they didn't, and I guess it's somewhat of a Champions League PTSD for Tottenham.
100%. Yeah.
I've seen stats suggesting like if you go on like major cup runs, then your league form will suffer by up to as much as 10 points. If you don't have like a mega super squad like Chelsea have had over the last couple of seasons, like City has, like Manchester United should have on their budget, and which Liverpool are finally starting close to get to. So that's also why I think Liverpool's like run of form is even more sensational, because they had both that league run while winning Champions League, and also this season have just been like kept going, like no sign of stopping, just keep on winning. So we were talking about Manchester United, weren't we?
Yeah.
So it's not easy. I think the solution would have been to go with Pochettino. I still think that would be the ideal solution for them, because he's both a builder and he's shown that in individual games he can outsmart Klopp and Guardiola. So he would still like be my choice if I was Woodward. But obviously his reputation is taking a bit of a dent with Tottenham this year. But I guess they also showed that if you have like that peak of a season and your defense and stuff is starting to get old, then you should be looking to make changes. Especially since they're probably going to lose 2 players on free this summer in Eriksen and Alderweireld, which is, if they had sold them in the summer, they could have got money to replace them. And now they're just like losing out on the money instead.
Yeah, exactly.
Which could be smart if you were very close to like winning the Premier League title. But Tottenham really aren't, because City and Liverpool are just so good at the moment.
Yeah.
So they should have just rather like focused on staying top 4 and kept staying top 4. And with the start they've had, it looks like that could very well be in danger, and that is a serious like threat to their position as a top 4 team over the next couple of years.
Yeah. So we might as well move on to the great team, Arsenal, the Gooners,
The best team.
the best team in the league, an incredible team in absolute shambles at the moment. Absolute shambles. What do you think as an outsider?
I think it's very entertaining in one way. No, not like just like the whole like Xhaka thing. Because I really don't rate him much as a player. I just don't see a USP. I just don't like see what he adds to the team. And you know that in every single big game you play, he is going to be a liability, either making a penalty because of a clumsy mistake or getting a red card because of his temperament. So I just see cons and not really too much pros with using Xhaka. And especially like some of the lineups you had this season have been like 3 defensive midfielders. With Ceballos and stuff on the bench, so that's just been very weird.
I mean, there's so many problems at Arsenal right now. It's sad because we had such a good transfer off-season, like, we were probably the best team in terms of getting in people and all that. It seemed like Arsenal fans were finally happy after so many years of terrible results. And then it's just, that's all gone. Like, all that happiness surrounding the club is all gone. And yeah, a lot of it is due to Xhaka and his place in the team selections, obviously Emery too. But the whole Xhaka thing is just, it's crazy. Like I was saying to you last week, when he walked off the pitch and all this was going on, I was like, this is crazy. Like, I can't believe one of our players is doing that. And then he ripped off the shirt, walked down the tunnel, and then it hit me that he was our captain. I forgot he was our captain because I don't know, he just doesn't seem like much of a leader. So I guess I completely forgot the fact that he was our captain. And then after he walked down the tunnel, I was like, that is crazy. Like, for a captain to be doing something like that. I really am against everything that Arsenal fans did in terms of jeering him when his name was read out. Like, I can understand people being happy. Like, I was happy when his name was called out at home. But, I mean, you can't, when you got 60,000 people jeering and happy with coming off, like, I don't think that's right.
It's bullying.
It is. It is essentially bullying.
And it's not going to make him better either.
No. Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying like applaud him, like clap him, because he didn't play a bad game. He just played okay like he normally does. But yeah, cheering him but then his reaction is just, it's probably even worse. And like, throwing the armband at Aubameyang. And then the walking off the pitch was the worst. And that's the only reason people started booing, because he started walking off the pitch. And like as the captain, like, although you might be getting stick from the crowd, at least for your teammates, like, run off the pitch, get off the pitch, don't start mocking the crowd, kind of like getting them to more aggravated. And I guess this whole situation just speaks to like how I don't know if pathetic is the right word, but like, he's just not. Emery's just seems like he's got no power, like no stance at the club. Like, for him to, he just seems to be dancing around the issue.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, he's not going to play this weekend. I'll have a chat to him to see how he's feeling and stuff. Like, it kind of speaks to what kind of manager Emery is too. So yeah, mate, it's a bit of a mess at the moment, and it feels like everyone's like, when is Emery going to go? Everyone knows that.
And that's not a good spot to be in. No,
like he's got till the end of the season, his contract, and I think there's no way his contract will be renewed, surely. And then so the question is, when will it happen? Like, will they wait till the end of the season? Will they give them till the end of this weekend? Leicester will probably lose that game. Like, how long do you wait? Because at the moment, Chelsea and Leicester are getting further and further away from us.
Yeah.
And we need to make top four.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It is crazy.
But it is at least like, when I look at the team, I'm like, there were some very, very good players in it.
Team.
And you have some amazing youngsters coming up too. So it's kind of like, I mean, I guess you guys have been saying it for 10 years, but like, defense is still not as good as it should be. You need 2 new central defenders.
Yep.
But at least like at the fullback, with Bayern back, potentially Turney establishing himself as like a first choice left back. And then that should at least be clear, like where the problems is, what you need to address. And then there's some pretty good players in midfield, like Torreira, really like him, really like Andusi. If you can make Ceballos permanent, then that would be a good thing. Yeah. And then like the attack is great, like
world class.
Yeah, I mean, there's not many teams in the league who can better that attack. So like that part settled. The one issue is kind of like Aubameyang is on the wrong side of 30. So it's kind of like, by the time the rest of the team gets good, you'll probably need to replace him. So that puts you in a bit of like a tricky spot. But at least like some of the youngsters, like young Saka, looks amazing. So I think overall, like, the future is still like very promising.
Yeah.
And then you just need to like get a couple more signings right, and then get in like the right manager if that's what you think is needed, to sort of like put the pieces together.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at the moment, like as you were saying, if you look at that squad, there's no way you can say they're not a good enough top forward squad, especially with Manchester United squad, Chelsea's transfer ban, Tottenham. I mean, arguably Tottenham might have a better squad than Arsenal. I could see the merit to that argument. So at worst, and it's a better squad than Leicester City. At worst, they should be coming fourth, or in the top four or close to it. I know it's the start of the season, but like I don't know how many points they are right now, like six or more out of the top four now. Like it's crazy because our squad is way too good, and I think at the end of the day, if your squad's as good as that, and you're coming down as far the table as they are now, like that just says it all. That most likely your manager isn't good enough. So, I mean, I wanted him out maybe 3-4 weeks ago, but I understand that it takes time. Like I think as fans, we think that you can just cut your manager and then it's all good, done. But the problem is you need to find someone else.
Yeah.
And you need to find a good replacement. So I can understand why it might be taking a bit more time. It's just, every game, it's just you're dropping more points, getting further away. So they need to, if we have another bad performance this weekend against Leicester, I think it has to happen during the international break. At least it gives you 2 weeks to do something, but I don't know. I don't have too much hope for that. I don't know. I guess I'm just, we waited so long to get Wenger out. So it's like, is Emery, maybe they won't give him as much time, but you just wonder how long it's going to take until they find someone else. So, we'll see what happens.
All right. So, interesting times at least at Arsenal. So, not necessarily good, but at least interesting. So, it's not so boring.
It's good for everyone else. So, I guess next part, what we've got is our, I don't know, what do you want to call it, our angry part of the week. That's a really bad way of putting it. Yeah. But our
get some frustration out.
Yeah, something that got you fired up. It's obviously not very hard for an Arsenal fan, so I might as well carry on from that. Yeah. It obviously stems from that last game, and Emery really showed. I don't know. I think he's just about one of the worst managers I've ever seen. Like just tactically, I don't understand his tactics, but it went to an all-time low on Saturday against Wolves. And there's 2 parts to this. So firstly, imagine I think it was like the 71st minute, you're winning 1-0, which is a rare occasion. We have a very bad defence, so keep that in mind. And you decide to make your second substitution. Okay. You have Lucas Torreira, who's by far the best defensive midfielder at the club. And you're leading 1-0, 20 minutes left, and you decide to sub him off, your defensive midfielder, for a left winger. So, I mean, I don't really need to say too much other than that, but that is just ridiculous, I think. Like, unless you're really chasing that more of a lead, which I don't think at that point. I could understand if he made it maybe like the 50th minute or whatever, like if you really wanted to go for that extra goal. But with 20 minutes left, you might as well try and hold on to that 1-goal lead and to take off Torreira, who he's massive for our defence. Like for a defence that's really bad, like you need him out there. So I guess that was one part of it. And then the second part was the substitution that he did make after that, which is after we went down. So literally 5 minutes after that, went 1-1. Surprise, surprise. And then 10 minutes later, so I think this was the 86th minute, we brought on Kolasinac for Tierney. We decided to go left back for left back, which is obviously a defensive approach. So he was like, okay, well, 1-1, I'll take that, and get on someone that's obviously got a bit more energy in the tank. It just shows that Emery's just got this mentality of a small. I think he's suited to a smaller club.
Yeah, like an underdog.
Yeah,
Kind of like Sevilla was, I guess, when he started that.
I heard a great quote. It made me laugh so much in that when we lost to Sheffield United 1-0, and we all know what kind of team they are. They're like very defensive, like, boring, whatever. And I heard a quote saying, "I bet you Unai Emery was watching that performance in amazement, really admiring what the manager at Sheffield United has been able to do." And it's true. I honestly think he would. So it's just interesting that when you're 1-0 up, you decide to go more attacking, and when we're 1-1, we decided to go more defensive and not chase the win at home. And for a big club,
that part's very weird, because at the end of the season, like, wins count so much more than a draw. Like, it's 2 extra points, and that's really the difference over an entire season. So it's also why, in general, like, it's more beneficial for the smaller teams to rather like go get all out and try to win games instead of like playing for the draws, because you just need to win every third game. And if you draw 2 games, then you're 1 point worse off.
His substitution basically said that I'd rather. It's like a small club mentality. Like, I'd rather stay out of the relegation zone. And it's crazy. Like, and something I didn't add on to that was that we had Nicolas Pepe sitting on the bench. So I'm not saying he's going to come on. Like, he hasn't been that great so far, but this season. But seriously, like, you have to put him on. Like, I don't care how tired Tierney is. Like, he can go for another 10 minutes. He's a tough Scottish man. He can do it. Anyway, that's my, what would you want to call it? My thing that got me upset or fired up, disappointed from the week.
So I'm going to go about a little thing called a VAR, which I'm not too happy about. And this is not like a Liverpool general rant, although I did feel that things could have gone better for us with VAR this weekend. Because, like, one thing, like, there's been this whole debate about did they draw the lines, did they move the lines, and whatever, and that's all fine. Like, in the end, I think it's okay that as long as, like, the line is drawn by a computer and not by a hand of a human, then it is totally fine. Like, if it says offside, it's offside. Like, if it's onside, it's onside. No debate. So that should be fine. So it's more about, like, how they have decided to implement VAR overall. Because the way it is now is that it has to, like, be the referee who makes, like, a significant error for them to overturn his decision. And what I really, really fundamentally don't get is why it is more important for the football authorities to protect the referee's authority rather than just making the right decisions. Because if you make the right decisions, then
everyone's happy.
Everyone's happy. Like, there isn't any, like, debate or anger or whatever, because the right decisions were made.
No.
And it's like, it's a football team. It's not like 11 individuals. So why can't it be a referee team? The referee plus, like, the VAR are a team together. Instead of it just being like the referee, the single individual who's supposed to, like, make all these tough decisions in split seconds. Like, it's an incredibly difficult job. And VAR could be a perfect tool to, like, help them make that job easier and to make the right decisions. But instead, it's all about, like, saving face instead of just making the correct calls, and that's what really pisses me off. So it's kind of like they could just, when they decided they were going to interpret or, like, put VAR in practice in the Premier League, it just really seems to me like nobody thought about looking at how have they implemented it in Germany and in other leagues. What have been the good things? What have been the bad things? What should we do different? It just seems like they just skipped all of that, which is, like, basic analysis, which anyone should do, and just like, we're just going to do it our way. And even when it's not working very well, they still just keep going instead of just saying, okay, we made a mistake. Let's change it before it's too late. Like, don't wait until the end of the season or something. Because it's pretty obvious that right now it's not working very well.
The thing that upsets me is that people are now saying, I just want to go back to the old way that it was and have, like, just the one referee, obviously your 2 officials on the sideline too. And obviously, it's probably a better system than it is now. That's the sad thing. And but I think VAR is the way to go. Like we need. I think it's better to have technology in the game because there are times during the season where you have some crazy calls that the referee spotted and they've just got it wrong. They're a human. They're going to get things wrong. Yeah. And you need VAR there to get rid of the absolute clanger, if you want to call it that. But they're using it they're using it so poorly. You wonder who's behind the machines. Yeah, exactly. It's ridiculous. I mean, I can, watching the Arsenal Crystal Palace game 2 weeks ago, I was in amazement because they'd never, up until that point, they basically never ever change a decision. They just go with what the ref said, and they decided, I think for that week or something, because they did it in another game too, to start
that's the week they're going to do it that way, and the next week it's something different.
And they picked the wrong call to do it. I mean, I probably sound like a whinging Arsenal fan, but we scored a goal, and it was they called Callum Chambers back for a free kick, and he did nothing. I honestly wonder what they're looking at.
Oh, that was the situation in the box, right? Yeah. Yeah, it was impossible to see anything.
He got fouled, if anything.
Yeah.
And that was just it was what? You just lost for words. You're how is that? Yeah. How is that not a foul to us at least? Yeah. Just let the goal go.
Yeah.
It was crazy, but I think it's important that we stick with it, we stick with VAR because I think it is the way forward. Yeah. But it's just the implementation is just it's so bad.
Yeah, I mean there's just so much room for improvement there.
So much.
But I'm still a bit worried as long as the same people who decided to implement it this way in the first place are the ones who are in charge. Yeah. I don't really expect things to get better. And I hope it will, and I will be very positively surprised if it does. I'm very happy, but yeah, we'll just have to see. So hopefully, the media will just keep on giving them pressure to make these changes because it really needs to happen for the better of sport.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so next segment we're going to go with is it's called Trading Places. So essentially, I'm going to ask Marius to pretend to be someone who he is definitely not, and make a decision on what he would do with whatever question or scenario that I give him. So I can kick things off, and I have an interesting one for you. If you were Arsenal, and I'm not giving you the option, you're sacking Unai Emery because that's what should happen. But anyway, if you had to choose the next manager for Arsenal, and I gave you these 4 options, so you've got Jose Mourinho, the great man. You've got Brendan Rodgers, Mikel Arteta, the assistant at Man City, and you've got Fredrik Ljungberg, who's he's in charge of the youth squad. Yeah. And he's brought up some really good young players Saka, Willock, and the likes of that. So if you had to pick your next manager,
I'll just go through the ones I wouldn't pick and why. Yeah. So Mourinho, he's not a builder. He is the guy who, when you are already established in the top 4 and you really want to go out and win a league title, he's the guy who can make that happen. And then you'll be ruined in 3 years for the next 5 years. Yeah. Which happens pretty much anywhere he goes, but he does get you the title. Yeah. So I would not bring in Mourinho at this point of Arsenal's trajectory. Yeah. I would not choose them because of the same reason for those 2, and that is that they haven't been first team managers. So this is Arteta and Ljungberg. Yeah. I like the idea of promoting from within. It has worked. Guardiola did it with Barcelona, and despite Barcelona being a great team, Mourinho showcased that at Manchester United, that you can have a lot of money and be one of the best teams in the league and still be pretty bad. So it's not easy to take a good team or a great team to be a world-class team, which Guardiola has done at every club he's been at. And so that's why he really isn't a fraud. He is top 2 best managers in the world. But I really don't see why you would ever want to go with someone who hasn't gone outside and coached and been a manager of like a team, besides like your reserves or whatever.
Yeah.
Because there are so many like good options if you go find like a young promising coach in Germany, in Italy, in Spain. There are always new up and coming coaches, and just like with players, what matters is finding the person who will deliver on your pitch and not on the pitch you used to play for.
Yeah.
So you don't want the old guys who are over the top like Mourinho.
Yeah.
And also I would want the persons who have proven that they can deliver before they're given a shot.
Yeah.
So that's why I wouldn't go with either Arteta or Ljungberg. If they went and like coached the team in La Liga for Arteta and Ljungberg took over like a championship team for a couple of seasons and built some experience as managers, then I would totally consider them, and that would probably be like the best thing. I still don't hope Liverpool choose Steven Gerrard when Klopp leaves Liverpool, because I still haven't seen enough of him to prove that he's not just a good player but also a good manager. If he can win the league title in Scotland with the Rangers, then that's a good step in the right direction. But I would still want to see that he can really like build good football teams and also like be a good tactical manager and not just relying on like his player instincts.
It's a risk to go with those other guys, isn't it? Like you're like hoping that they become the next Guardiola who spends a season with Barcelona B and then gets promoted and does incredible things, becomes one of the best managers of all time. So it's a massive risk to do that. So it depends if you want to make that or not. You could come out with like you could produce like a really good manager, but it is a lot more riskier. It's probably not something Arsenal need right now.
And then Brendan Rodgers, like, he had that one amazing season with Liverpool in 13-14 where we almost won the league.
Yeah.
And where we scored more than 100 goals and everything was insane. But like it all fell apart after that, and we were very, very bad the season he got fired. And like the season before that, when like I guess that was 14-15, and then he got fired in 15-16 and we brought in Klopp. So because it's always difficult to say, like, is it the manager or is it the players who are the reason for a team, whether a team is good or bad? And if he had been able to sort of replicate things after Suarez left in 13-14, then I would have given Rodgers a lot more credit for that season than what I do now, because now I view that as Suarez basically carrying our team. And then Rodgers getting a bit more lucky rather than it being some masterful plan of his to make us score that many goals. He just had amazing players and he let them go out and attack. And they did, and they were amazing at it. When you're the manager of Celtic, you should win the league title, the cup, and qualify for the Champions League. I guess he failed to qualify for the Champions League every single time there. So it wasn't like an undeniable big success. And I also found it very weird that he would leave Celtic in the middle of the season, like a couple of games before the season finished, to go take over Leicester instead of like saying, hey, I'll come, but I'll take over in the summer. So that was a bit weird to me. And overall, he is a good manager, and he is also like proving part of the doubts I had about him wrong so far this season with Leicester. I mean, we'll see where it ends up.
It's only 12 games in or 11 games in, that's the problem. Is that, everyone's singing his praises now, but it's a long, long season.
It is, and I mean, injuries could make them vulnerable and everything, and probably one of the biggest like cons of Rodgers was that at Liverpool he did not get along with the transfer committee. He kind of, his ego seemed, at least on the outside, to be too big, that it's about him making the right signings and the right decisions rather than the team just bringing in the best players. Because he couldn't, he's a manager who couldn't figure out how to play Firmino in a team. Firmino looked terrible, like when he played under Rodgers, when he did play, because usually he wasn't selected because he couldn't figure out how to use him. Same with Thiago Aspas, who was good before he came to Liverpool, went back to Spain and has like single-handedly held Celta Vigo in La Liga for multiple seasons, scoring like 15 to 20 goals a season. So it's like there are some doubts about him. And this summer again, like maybe it will be a hit, but the one big signing was Jose Perez, and that's a player he knew from the Premier League. So he just seems to lack a bit of imagination in the transfer market. So I still think like overall he's a good manager, and I think it would be a lot of fun to see him as the Arsenal manager.
Yeah.
But I still like he's not better than Klopp, so I would still find it very difficult for you to win the title with him as a manager. But is he good enough to be a top 4 manager? Like, let's see at the end of the season. But I think very well he is.
Yeah. All right.
What would you do if you had Woodward at Manchester United to sort of fix this?
I mean, it's harsh. I think it's reasonably harsh on Ollie, but I'd probably have to replace him. And yeah, like you were saying before, I'd bring in an Allegri kind of manager. I think Allegri would make the most sense in terms of who's out there at the moment. I think that's what I would go. Like, I mean, he's got all the experience in the world, although, like as we were saying before, he hasn't won a Champions League. So that's like his biggest doubt with that Juventus squad, as he didn't go the next step because he was expected to win all the Serie A's and Italian Cups. So there are still question marks over him, but he's better than Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. So then you can kind of like make your movements in the transfer windows. Get some more good players because what they did in the last window was positive. It was a positive way going forward. Like they did make the right signings, but there's just there's too many question marks over the coach now. I think even with the squad they have, even though it's pretty poor, like their midfield is I think it's one of the worst midfields in the league. Especially if you took out Paul Pogba, it's not very good at all. So I think like at least if they made a change now, then I think they've got a better chance of making the top 6, which should be their goal. But I think if they keep going the way they're going, they might end up out of Europa League spots.
Yeah.
Like that would be if they keep Ollie for the rest of the season. I don't think they'll make top 6.
Yeah.
I don't think they're good enough, especially with Leicester coming into the top 4. So
it might actually be good for them to like be left out of the whole Europa League for next season because we started with Liverpool, started with Chelsea. When they're outside of the Europa League with those extra games, you actually perform better in the league. So it could be what is required for them to actually make it into the Champions League in 2 years. And then, I mean, they do also have an outside chance of winning the Europa League this season, which could be the backdoor to get them into the Champions League. But I mean, like it is every season, there are going to be some very good teams who fall out of the Champions League and then end up in the Europa League. So it's going to be tough. It won't be easy for them to do it.
Yeah, so I think I'd probably go for someone like Allegri.
What if Simone and Pochettino were available, both of them? Who would you choose then?
I don't know much about Simeone, obviously, because he's in the Spanish league. But he's obviously done very well with them. And Pochettino's done incredible things with Tottenham, I think, with the squad and the money he's had. You think with a bit more backing. I don't know, who would you choose out of them? I think I'd go with Pochettino.
Yeah.
I think because at least he's proven in the Premier League.
Yeah.
I know that sounds a bit weird because he's not a player or anything like that, but it's a different league than other leagues and it's a tougher league and he understands. And I think he's brought Tottenham from not nowhere, but like 6th, 7th place to a consistent top 4 side over the last 3 seasons, I think. So I think he's a safer pick, Pochettino, and with more backing, financial backing, which Manchester United will certainly give him. I think he'd be the better pick. So I'd definitely be, because he looks very unsatisfied at Tottenham.
Yeah.
So I think, I'd probably chase him over Allegri and Simone, actually,
Yeah, I mean, he's the guy I would go with too, because he's shown he can build clubs, and that's what they need, complete rebuild. Now we are moving into a part of the show, which is going to be called Nostradamus Prophecy, where we make a fearless prediction about either the upcoming game week or much further ahead into the future. But now we're going to make the predictions, which can come back and bite us, but that's always fun.
It's supposed to be fearless. I just saw your one.
Huh? Oh.
I guess.
Yeah. All right, so you can start.
So I went with 2 Premier League managers are going to be sacked in the next month.
Ooh, do you also want to make a fearless prediction about
No.
who those 2 managers will be?
Not really. I think if I had to make a definite one, who I think will definitely go would be the Everton manager. I think he is on very thin ice. I can't remember who they're playing this weekend.
They're playing Southampton away.
Are they?
Yeah.
So I mean, if he doesn't get something out of that game, he's got to be gone. You have to get something out of that game.
I think I'll say the loser of that game will lose his job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, so they're Southampton's another option of who's going to be sacked. Obviously, Arsenal.
Yeah, because Hasenhüttl is just losing with 9 goals against Leicester and all that.
Yeah.
He's on thin ice too, and I really don't get why they are in the relegation zone when I look at the names on our team sheet. But they are there, and they're not looking like they're going to get out right now. So they need to make some changes.
You've also got Watford too. They appointed that new Flores. Is his reappointed him, and then he got the amazing draw against Arsenal, and I don't think he's done much since then. Yeah. They're coming last. And Watford are notorious for sacking managers very quickly, so that's another contender for a possible sacking. There's Norwich. That's a tough one because they got that amazing victory over Man City, but that's kind of all they've done. Yeah. And Southampton too. So there's a good 4 or 5 contenders of who it could be. If I had to put my money on one of them, I'd probably say Everton because they should not be in 17th place.
Yeah, that is very point. Totally agree on that. Yeah. I still think that Hasenhüttl is most likely to get fired. But Marco Silva too, really in the danger zone. Yeah. I actually have multiple predictions or prophecies that I want to make, but I think I'll spread it out now and do one per week. Actually, I'll actually kick it off with 2 this week because I want to do it when the league table looks like it does. Yeah. So I mean, the first one, Liverpool are going to win the league this year. it is going to happen. Yeah. They just look so good, and I also think they're going to beat Manchester City this weekend. City's defense still looks super shaky. They haven't really been tested much in the last couple of weeks because they played some very easy teams. Yeah. And now they're going to face the toughest attack in the league. So that's going to be that's going to be a very interesting game. Yeah. And I'll also be very interested to see what approach Guardiola will take to that game. Yeah. Because in past seasons, last season, he played for a draw, and it was super boring, and it ended with a draw. But this year they're 6 points behind, so they kind of have to win this. So I'm very interested to see which approach he's going to go with, whether he's going to try to win it, go all out, or whether it's going to be super cagey and just trying to grind it out and pick up a penalty to win it, like they did but missed last season. So it's going to be an interesting game. Yeah. And my other prediction is Newcastle are going to get relegated because they're just not scoring goals besides set pieces, and that's just not sustainable. Worst unexpected goals in the league. They're going down. The only thing that could save them is that there are other teams which are even worse. Yeah. But I still think that in the long run, a team such as Norwich, them being able to score goals is going to pay off. Yeah. More than them also losing a lot of games. If you haven't heard, Trademate Sports is making weekly Premier League and Champions League predictions for CBS, which is one of the largest news channels on sports in America. In every episode, we want to reveal one of the picks for the upcoming game week. This week, it will be Leicester Arsenal, because I think that is the most exciting game, besides Liverpool.
Should be lots of goals. Should be.
Yeah. So that's Alex's prediction. My prediction in this is a very, I'm not going to say boring, but it's a 1-1. So, following up on that, that means 1x2, draw. Asian handicap was minus 0.5 goals to Leicester. So on the Asian handicap line, I'm going with Leicester. I am going with under 2.5 goals, given the prediction is a 1-1. So that's it.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how Emery sets up for that one, because if there's one thing he's done well, is he's actually performed well in big games.
Yeah.
So, if there's a little bit of hope for Arsenal fans, I think these are kind of the games where we've actually performed our best. So, I think a draw is a good pick. But yeah, if you don't want to go that way, don't pick Arsenal.
Yeah, and if you want to see all of the picks, you can subscribe to sportsline.com, which is like CBS's sports news arm online. So
yes, and my pick for the week. So we're going to kind of make a competition out of this. So see, who comes out every week with the best results. But my pick for the week, and I couldn't believe this, just going through the bets or just going through some of the games this weekend, but Man City are actually favourites to beat Liverpool, and I think if you're looking for any kind of value out there, then Liverpool to beat Man City is the way to go. The only question mark over that would be if Salah's ruled out. He's got a bit of an ankle concern, but Marius has given me the inside news that he should be fine.
Yeah, he's playing. He sent me a text this morning.
Yeah, so the best odds I found for Liverpool to beat Man City were 285, and draw no bets for Liverpool is also 206 if you want to be a little bit safer. But I can't see Man City beating them at all. So especially with their shaky defence, like you were saying before, and Liverpool the way they're going, and they're at home. So I can't believe they're favourite. They're not favourites. Like, it's crazy. But
so if City do end up winning this game, then the both of us are going to look super smart next week when we do the podcast. But that's why we make the fearless predictions. So
there are our two bets for the week.
All right. So now Alex is going to have a look at his phone to put up his fantasy team for the week, because I already have mine ready.
I like to wait until after the Champions League games to see if there's any
that is in general smart. So this will be the preliminary team. I made 2 transfers last week, so I haven't done anything with my free transfer this week. So I think I'll probably just hang on to it and see what happens. And because I'm pretty happy with my team overall now, and maybe I'd like to get Van Dijk into the team at some point, but not until Liverpool are done with Manchester City anyway. So that's why I think I'll just hang on for this week. So I had an amazing round last week. It's probably my best round so far this season. So I got 81 points. Really hit it off with Solanke and Lundstram, both of them doing amazingly well. Lundstram scoring 2 goals, Solanke scoring 1 goal, and keeping a clean sheet, both of them. So it's in total now I'm up at 641 points, so I'm only 3 points behind Alex at 644, close the entire gap just in this single round, so that was amazing. So in goal I have Pope, still by far the best value goalkeeper in the entire fantasy Premier League thing. Then I have the defense with Arnold, Solanke, Tomori, all of them playing at home. Bet at least on Alex getting an assist, even if Liverpool don't keep a clean sheet against City, which is rather unlikely, I'd say. Then on the midfield, I have Mount, Mane, Sterling, De Bruyne, Cantwell. Cantwell, I had Pookie for the longest time, and I think from the time I put him into my team until I took him out, he didn't score a single goal. So I jumped on the bandwagon too late, and let's see if I catch out too early. But I have complete faith in my forwards now. So in the attack for this round, I have Andre Ayew, who's playing away against Chelsea, and Abraham, which is playing home against Palace. For now, I have put Abraham as my captain, but I could potentially change that to Mane. I'll think about it a bit, because Palace don't let in too many goals, but at the same time, do I really want to have my captain playing against Manchester City? So that's it. And another transfer that I made last week to sort of bring some value into my team was Connolly, who's been playing a lot for Brighton lately. Scored 2 goals in the game, which was what got him on my radar. And he's only like 4.7 million and playing regularly, at least 45 minutes a game. So pretty good value, I think.
Decent. All right. I've got I got 2 transfers this week because I didn't make one last week.
Yeah.
So, but my team is Pope in goal 2 and I've also got Matt Ryan. So I normally interchange them depending on who's got the easier game. My defence is Alexander Arnold, very good pick. I actually have Pereira from Leicester City, I think he's coming first in the defender. So that was actually quite a good pick by me.
Have you had him in all along?
Yeah, I've had him in the whole time, so I've been quite lucky there. I
think he increased quite some in value now. So, good choice, very good choice.
Yeah, I brought in Eric Peters from Burnley a couple of weeks ago, and I think I acted too late because he was doing quite well for his price tag. But ever since I brought him in, he hasn't produced anything. So I'm thinking about maybe getting rid of him. And then in midfield, I've got De Bruyne. Very good, obviously. Mane, incredible. Bernardo Silva, better now because he seems like he's starting every game now. At the start of the season, he wasn't. So I'm happy with him. David Silva might be injured. It says he's 25% chance.
I at least read yesterday that he's not going to play this weekend.
So I'll probably have to transfer him out maybe. And I've also got Cantwell from Norwich. He's okay. He's all right for his.
I have to win at some point. So this is the week. Cantwell's going to score some points again.
Yeah. For how much? They're playing Watford too. Yeah. So I'll keep him in this week.
Yeah. So one of those teams have to win. Or it could still be a draw, but one of them have to win. Yeah.
And then I've got Aubameyang and King as my strikers. Obviously, Aubameyang's doing very well. King scored a goal last week, so that's good. 2 transfers, so I'll get rid of David Silva probably. I don't know what I'll do the other one. Maybe replace one of the people on my bench who's not been playing, like Kelly from Crystal Palace. And I think Chambers might come out of the Arsenal team soon. So.
Have you had King in your team the entire time?
No, I just put him in 2-3 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago, maybe.
Yeah, because in general, like when I looked at it before the season started, it's always good value. And obviously I had him in my team from the beginning. Yeah. And then he dropped like 0.2 million. So I was like, I'm subbing him now. Yeah. Just taking that loss because he didn't start out too well and he played as a winger instead of a striker.
Yeah.
But now he's back as a forward because they finally figured out that Dominic Solanke is just not going to score goals for you.
He's terrible. I watched him play against Arsenal. He was bad.
It was amazing. We got 20 million for him because he looked promising, if like nothing sensational, but he at least looked like decent when he came on as a sub for Liverpool. But still, getting 20 million for him was a steal.
Yeah.
And like I could not believe this season that they would bench like a Ryan Fraser to play Dom Solanke. That didn't make any sense to me. So now they've changed it. King's playing up front. Yeah. Looking like some good value. Scored against Manchester United. So it was fun.
Yeah, I think he's worth it at the moment. I think, I don't know, my general strategy is spending all my money in the midfield because I think that's where you can make the most points. So having De Bruyne, Bernardo Silva, Mane, David Silva, 4 of the best players in the league.
It's paid off very well for you so far.
Yeah, so far, mate. But I've had a rough couple of weeks, but hopefully I can turn it around. Yeah. And that kind of brings us to the end of the podcast. Sad times. But it's been fun. But now we get to reveal the answer to the quiz question.
So if you haven't written down your answer yet, then pause the podcast now and do so, because now Alex is going to tell you.
Yeah, so the answer to the question, which was, which is the only team to have only spent 1 season inside the Premier League, the answer, there's 4 answers. There's Blackpool, Barnsley, Swindon Town, and Cardiff City. I think for me, Cardiff City was probably the only maybe obvious one because they've been in the most recently.
Yeah.
But I didn't realise that was their only season. So it was a tough question, I think.